My name is Ted Holsey. I'm Vice President of Marketing at eFolder and your host for today's event. Welcome to the eFolder Partner Chat. This webinar series is focused on business-oriented discussions to help eFolder partners improve their profitability. Today's topic is BDR pain relief, introducing eFolder BDR for Acronis. Before we go through the agenda, let's cover a few housekeeping items. Today's session is being recorded. The recorded version of the webinar will be made available on eFolder's YouTube channel. We will also make copies of the slides available to those who registered for the event. With over 220 people registered for today's session, we have put all participants in listen-only mode. You can enjoy the audio portion of today's event by either streaming it on your computer or by dialing in over the phone. Questions are strongly encouraged throughout today's webinar. We have planned a special Q&A section at the end of today's discussion, but you may submit them as we go along. We will try to address your questions on the fly. In today's presentation, I will first review some of the common challenges partners are facing in their BDR practices. Then I'll introduce eFolder BDR for Acronis and dive into some of the unique capabilities of this solution. And then we will have a focused Q&A section to wrap up today's discussion. So let's kind of dive into it. I'm just going to check to see how many folks have arrived. Okay, that looks good. So again, as we're going along, please ask questions, and I will have the Q&A log open to monitor that. So let's start in. I'm going to first talk about 4 challenges that partners have shared with us over the past couple of weeks and months in their BDR practice. The first is data growth. This shouldn't be news to anybody, but the big challenge is we all know that data growth is a nonstop phenomenon. It's accelerating. The number of employees who are involved in content creation, in the creation of multimedia content, the sophistication of software applications that produce massive data files is only increasing. And the need and awareness for backup and disaster recovery in the small and medium business space is increasing as well. This is good news for eFolder. It's good news for our channel partners because it means that more and more clients are open to having a conversation around utilizing backup and disaster recovery to safeguard their mission-critical corporate data. However, the challenge is that partners need to forecast and understand what the impact of data growth is going to be. And I think one of the things that many partners have been challenged with is that when you do deploy BDR class solutions to your clients, there's often surprise about how much wholesale cost you're actually incurring. You know, partners will end up with very unpredictable wholesale cloud costs for backing up and replicating data to the cloud. Unfortunately, you know, many of the large IT vendors like Microsoft and Google and Amazon to some degree, you know, are creating this notion in the market that the cloud is free. There's a lot of freemium services out there that at the consumer level that don't really charge consumers for backing up large amounts of data to the cloud. But in the business market, the reality is vastly different. In the business market, when a business customer consumes large amounts of bandwidth or storage costs in the cloud, it has pretty significant wholesale costs. And so this is something we know our partners are struggling with. And where the rubber meets the road is, you know, BDR should be the most profitable offering for our partners. And if you don't do a good enough job predicting your wholesale costs, then that can significantly cut into your profit opportunities down the road and reduce the amount of cash flow that you're driving from your BDR offerings. Now, one of the things that partners have been doing over the past couple of years, and this includes a lot of eFolder partners, in order to cut down on cloud storage costs, with some of the solutions, it makes sense at every 12 or 18 months to do a new base image, a new full image of a server environment for a client and go and reseed that data into the data center, into the eFolder cloud environment to cut down on cloud storage utilization. And that's a very viable approach, and it saves on those wholesale cloud storage costs and gives you kind of a clean slate to start adding new monthly incrementals, for instance, to the cloud environment. However, it's fairly labor intensive to do a reseed exercise. You've got to roll trucks, you've got to get out there and spend several hours of labor doing the reseed, the new images of the servers, and then shipping those into eFolder to reseed into our cloud environment. And so that's, again, it's extra labor. Have you budgeted for that labor? And are you, keeping your labor costs under control in your BDR offering? And then the last challenge I'll mention is that, eFolder is a very unique approach in the BDR marketplace today, but some of our competitors have taken the approach to really force partners to utilize a very fixed solution set where you have to use their version of imaging software, you have to use their BDR appliance, you have to use their cloud. There's no choices around cross-site replication or replicating to your own data center, and they have a very fixed pricing approach where they set the retail price, if you will, and you have to inherit that. And basically, eFolder does every single one of these aspects of BDR service offering in a different sort of way, giving partners much more flexibility in terms of how you price and package a solution and how you can actually deploy it. So that's really the setting today of some of the challenges that partners are facing, and really the eFolder's latest product offering to help you address some of these challenges, what we call eFolder BDR for Acronis. eFolder BDR for Acronis is a complete backup and disaster recovery service that combines the power of Acronis software with eFolder's cloud storage and recovery capabilities. What I'm going to do in the next couple slides is kind of go through some of the unique capabilities of this offering and explain how partners can utilize it to control your costs and improve your overall profitability in your BDR service offering. So first, just how does the solution work? eFolder is a cloud-centric company, and our main value add is the operation of a petabyte scale storage cloud that gives partners the ability to store hundreds of gigs or terabytes of data in our cloud in a very cost-effective manner, and then gives you multiple different disaster recovery options when and if a disaster of any kind occurs at a client location. We partner with other software companies to give our partners choice. And so eFolder is the only cloud services company that supports both StorageCraft, Dell Aperture, and Acronis for the image-based backup of servers and other critical workstations. So the way this solution works is you basically license the Acronis software directly from eFolder, and you run the Acronis image-based software on the protected servers, the agents, and then you run the Acronis management server software either locally on the server or in most cases on a BDR appliance that's on-site at the customer location. That BDR appliance, of course, serves as a storage node or a storage vault locally to that environment where you can send the backup images, and then you have a local backup location, and then on that BDR appliance you're able to actually virtualize those server images when and if there's a hardware failure or software corruption of some kind on the production servers. So that gives you the ability to do on-site recovery. Now, of course, you want to get that data off-site so that your client has the protection of the cloud when and if any sort of outage occurs on-site, where it's the complete loss of the location. And so the Acronis software has built-in replication capabilities, and that you can configure it so that you are replicating the data not only to the local BDR appliance, but to the eFolder cloud. And so what eFolder does is we run the Acronis software in our cloud environment, in our compute cloud, which is logically attached to our storage cloud. And then when and if you have an outage of any kind at the client location, you have different recovery options. You can download the data from the eFolder cloud. More commonly, you can request us to ship you the data on disk, or if you have really tight recovery time objectives for a client, you can do an in-the-cloud recovery with the eFolder Continuity Cloud, which allows you to provision a compute node in eFolder's cloud environment, download and decrypt the data from the storage cloud and then run those servers on a virtualized basis in the eFolder cloud as long as you need to in the event of some sort of massive outage at the client location. So that's an overall how the solution works. What I want to do here is just touch on some of the key features. Some of you are maybe using eFolder's other two BDR product lines, BDR for Shadow Protect or BDR for Aperture, and I just want to highlight some of the things that make this solution unique and different. First of all, the way we price and package the solution and bundle it is unique. So what we're doing is you can source from eFolder the software license, the Acronis license itself, and the included cloud storage in one tight logical bundle on a per server basis. So I'll get into more details in a moment, but basically for $60 per server per month, we include the Acronis software and 1 terabyte of deduped and compressed storage in the eFolder cloud. So this is a departure from how we've done business in the past in terms of pricing and packaging. What we're trying to do here is to include massive amounts of cloud storage, number one, and to include the software package in a single logical bundle, and to make it really simple to buy, really simple to consume, really simple to get your head around in terms of planning your wholesale costs. Now, the Acronis Backup Advanced software, which is included, I mean, the first point I want to make is that this is the most advanced software build for the business market that Acronis supplies. It includes all of the important add-on capabilities for granular exchange recovery, granular SQL recovery, and the like, restoration to dissimilar hardware, and the like. So the Acronis software allows you to do image and file level backup. The software supports global deduplication, and I'll get into more why that's so important. That global deduplication also eliminates the need to ever have to reseed in the data center. So it implements what we call forever incremental dedupe-aware replication. And what this basically means is that if down the road you wanted to do an additional full backup of an environment for any number of reasons, you don't actually need to reseed that full into the data center. You basically can replicate that new full over the wire, but because it's deduplicated, it's only going to send the incremental data, and so it's bandwidth efficient, and it's not going to force you to send the whole full over the wire. So you'll never have to do a reseed exercise again. Another capability is you're able to back up straight to the cloud from a single server. So for those very small business environments where the client may not value or cannot afford a BDR appliance, on site you can actually deploy the software to a single server and then replicate that single server to the eFolder cloud, which is really a killer way to give disaster recovery to even the most cost-conscious small business accounts. And then another really core capability is the ability to have differential on-site and off-site retention policies. So kind of if we go back to the overall challenges partners are facing today with containing cloud storage costs, the ability to set a different retention policy for cloud data versus what you have on-site is a really nice capability. And then there's extensive reporting capabilities in the Acronis management server itself. And then from the eFolder cloud side, you get all of the centralized licensing, reporting, and management that you've come to know from eFolder. You have multiple different recovery options, including emergency in the cloud recovery with the eFolder Continuity Cloud, 1 terabyte of included storage per protected server, as I mentioned. You have a lot of flexible deployment options. You can, as I mentioned, go straight from a single server environment to the cloud. You can build your own BDR appliances, or in the very near future, you're going to be able to source a pre-configured eFolder BDR appliance, just like we have done on our other product lines, that you can source the hardware directly from eFolder. So the choice is yours. So, and then we, just like with our other BDR product lines, we support pre-seeding to the data center for that initial full. And of course, the eFolder cloud implements silent data corruption protection, which is a vital capability when you're operating a petabyte scale storage cloud. So let's dive into this in a little bit greater detail. So the first thing I want to mention is some of you might be familiar with Acronis or have used it, or maybe have some of it deployed to your clients, the one point I want to make clear is that what we're bundling with this solution is what's called Acronis Backup Advanced. And in this software bundle, it includes, without any additional cost above the $60 per server per month, it includes all of the core add-on capabilities, including deduplication, universal restore, Exchange granular recovery, SQL granular recovery, and Active Directory and SharePoint granular recovery. So this is the most complete software bundle you can get from Acronis. And what we're doing to make things really dramatically simple is we're combining the software and the eFolder Cloud services into a single price point that we then deploy to our partners, and then which allows you to go out and deliver disaster recovery in a very cost-effective manner to your clients. So a couple comments in terms of the flexibility. As I mentioned, you can do single server backup straight to the eFolder Cloud. You can also build your own BDR appliances. And so this is a huge advantage a lot of partners tell us about in eFolder's overall model, which is, you may have a strategic relationship with Dell and you have to deploy a certain amount of Dell servers per year, hit a certain dollar volume. And so you want to standardize on Dell servers, both for the production environments and for your disaster recovery services. You can do that with this solution as well, just like the other eFolder BDR product lines. But for those partners that want a pre-configured solution, we also are going to start shipping in the mid-July timeframe a pre-configured eFolder BDR appliance that's purpose-built and pre-configured for this particular service offering. Let's talk a little bit about the amount of included storage on this solution. We include a terabyte of compressed and deduplicated data in the eFolder Cloud with each protected server. This is a massive amount of included storage. And really, what we've come to realize as a company pretty much is that we need to simplify our pricing approach and make it very easy for partners to consume, make it very predictable for you to forecast out your wholesale costs. What we see today is in most eFolder BDR deployments, each protected server is utilizing roughly 250 gigs of offsite storage in the eFolder Cloud. And so that's kind of the average today. So even if we go back to this central premise that data growth is going to continue, data is going to continue to proliferate, it's going to become, it's still going to be a very big challenge to provide disaster recovery to clients of all sizes because of data growth. Here we're including enough storage so that it's really the likelihood that you're going to have any overage is going to be quite low. And just a key question that would usually come up at this point, how do we count the storage in a client environment? If the client has 3 servers, you have 3 terabytes of pooled storage. So the pooling doesn't happen at the partner level, it happens at the client level with this service offering. So that's one terabyte per server pooled at the client level. Let's talk a little bit about deduplication. So here I'm just including a screenshot from the Acronis management server software. And I just want to make a couple comments about deduplication. Deduplication is a vital technology. Deduplication is also available in eFolder BDR for Aperture. And the way deduplication works between the two solutions is slightly different, but the basic payoff is the same. That the larger, if you have clients with large environments, large Exchange environments, deduplication becomes very, very important. The way deduplication works is it happens both locally and in the cloud. So, locally, if you say had a 3-server environment, they were all running the same server operating system, and you had a local BDR appliance deployed, the Acronis software would actually deduplicate across all 3 servers, and the duplicated data would only be backed up once to the local appliance. In similar fashion, when you're backing up to the cloud environment, to the eFolder Cloud environment, we provision a single logical storage node for each partner in the cloud. And in the deployment scenario most partners utilize is they have a single encryption scheme for all of their clients. And so really we're provisioning a single Acronis node for you, storage node in our cloud environment, and then you will have kind of a multi-tenant type experience there where you're backing up multiple clients, client A, client B, client C, and you're using the same encryption scheme across all those clients. And then in similar fashion, you're going to be deduplicating the data across client environments. And again, what that's going to lead to is that your cloud storage utilization is going to be compressed and deduplicated. And so again, we're saving on your cloud storage utilization while still giving you a massive amount of included storage. Now let's talk about just labor savings. I mean, here we're depicting the relative labor investment that partners need to make when you do a reseed exercise. You know, it takes many hours to do an initial full. You've got to roll trucks and get technicians out on site. And the beauty of the Acronis solution with the eFolder Cloud is that with this deduplication capability, when and if you do a full backup later in a client lifecycle, that backup or replication task is going to be deduplicated. So the data that's already up in the eFolder Cloud is not going to be resent. And so really, this eliminates the need. This eliminates the need to ever reseed ever have to ship drives back into the eFolder data center operation again. Again, saving you labor in your overall BDR product line. Let's talk about a little bit about on-site and off-site retention policies. So, you know, what most partners want is, you know, very fine-grained RP recovery point objectives on-site at a client location, and then fewer recovery points in the eFolder Cloud. Because, you know, most of the time, if you have a complete disaster at a client location, if you have a fire, flood, natural disaster, tornado, hurricane, whatever it is that wipes out a client location, you're not really worried about recovery points in the cloud environment that are weeks or months old. And so what you're able to do with this solution is you're able to set more fine-grained recovery points on site at the client location, and then preserve less recovery points and basically trim the amount of data stored in the eFolder Cloud on the cloud side. And this is a very powerful capability. And let me just show you how this basically works. So the way this works in practice is you have basically different backup plans for the two different storage vaults that you're utilizing in a common deployment. In a common deployment, you say you had 3 servers, you would have a storage vault on the BDR appliance, local BDR appliance, and you'd have a different storage vault in the eFolder Cloud, and you would have a different local backup. You'd have a different backup plan for each one of those storage vaults. So what I'm showing you here is the configuration of the backup plan for a local BDR appliance, and then here you have the choice. From a configuration perspective, the next step is you would configure your backup plan for the storage vault that's actually running in the eFolder Cloud, in that multi-tenant storage node that eFolder is provisioned in our cloud environment. And you're able to basically set different retention policies for each one of those environments. And here we're saying basically we only want to keep 60 days of incrementals in the storage cloud. So you can make it 30 days, you can make it 15 days, it's up to you. But again, the whole beauty of this is you're able to have more fine-grained recovery points on-site on the BDR appliance versus in the cloud, again, conserving that precious cloud storage capacity, and again, helping you to control those overall costs and drive a higher level of predictability and profit in your backup and disaster recovery offering. Now, just a couple additional comments on, the way some of the unique technologies that eFolder deploys. If you're not yet an eFolder partner, you may not know about this technology that we utilize, but it's called Silent Data Corruption Protection. And we utilize this technology across all of our product portfolio, eFolder Backup, all 3 flavors of our BDR product line, and the Anchor product line. And every byte that comes into the eFolder Cloud is copied 4 times and digitally signed. And then when you're operating a petabyte storage cloud, there invariably will be data corruption. It's because of a wide number of firmware bugs and all sorts of different technical things that can happen when you're dealing with petabytes of data. And it's not a question of if there will be data corruption, it's a question of when. And what this technology allows us to do is we've got those copies of that data, and we're able to, anytime we determine that there's been a corruption of any kind, we're able to get a known good copy of the data and then copy it. And we've never lost a byte of client data before in the entire company's history. So silent data corruption protection is something you want to make sure that any vendor you're working with that's operating a large storage cloud is utilizing. And then just a couple comments if you're not yet an eFolder partner and you don't know and you're not familiar with our Continuity Cloud offerings. The Continuity Cloud has basically two different use cases. The main use case is if you have a outage at a client that wipes out the entire location, or the location is not reachable because of a power outage, or whatever the disaster may be, you're able to open an emergency ticket with eFolder, and then we provision a Continuity Cloud compute node for you in our compute cloud, and then you're able to download and decrypt client images from the storage cloud and then run them on a virtualized basis in the Continuity Cloud, as long as it takes you to get that client location back online, or migrate them to a new location, or bring up a server with new hardware, whatever the case, whatever the disaster is, and whatever recovery you need to do, you're able to run their environment on a temporary basis in the eFolder Continuity Cloud. And then the other main use case for the Continuity Cloud is disaster recovery testing. Disaster recovery testing, a lot of folks want it to be kind of push button, and automatic, but the reality is it's more about training the human beings who are at the controls when a disaster does hit. So it's kind of like a fire drill of sorts, or the important point is to have your staff well trained and prepared on how to do a recovery when and if a disaster occurs. So that's the other main use case a lot of partners will utilize for use the Continuity Cloud for. So just to kind of wrap up here and then go to your questions, eFolder's approach is very different than any other BDR player in the market today. Our focus is to deliver a storage, compute, and recovery cloud that gives partners choice, and then we're able to plug in these various flavors of software to our cloud environment, give the partners the flexibility to use, in some cases, use different software packages for different client requirements, or standardize on one that is your favorite, is the one your techs are well trained to use, and then you're able to basically have choice in those deployment scenarios. And then we're able to address the needs of many different kinds of SMBs and mid-enterprise customers with this diverse set of solutions. So that's what we call our vision for the open cloud. And just to kind of reiterate kind of the pricing and packaging and availability. So again, this service is available today at $60 per server per month, and includes a terabyte of compressed and deduplicated storage. And it's available now direct from eFolder. There is a minimum 3-server commitment to get started. So that's whether you're an existing eFolder partner or not. To start utilizing this service, there is a minimum. So that's $180 wholesale a month to get started, and then thereafter you can buy onesie-twosies to continue to add to your client base. And then by mid-July we will be shipping BDR appliances similar to what we've done on our BDR for Shadow Protect product line, with a pre-configured set of appliances. So at this point, what I'd like to do is go to the Q&A log and start answering your questions. I am both the presenter and the MC for today, so it's going to take me a couple seconds here to get my head around your questions, but let me just start going through here. So Mark wants to know, what if we are already an Acronis reseller and have Acronis clients, and they already have Acronis software along with the ongoing maintenance? So Mark, as long as this question, anybody who's an Acronis partner already, the important point here is that, at least in our experience, many partners have deployed the relatively basic version of the Acronis business product that does not support deduplication. and all the other capabilities in the eFolder cloud. So I think the important thing to come back to, let me just go to the slide. Let's see, I think it's this slide here. Let me just go through here. In our experience, like for instance, if you've been sourcing Acronis licenses through your relationship with Kaseya, the capabilities of that software package don't allow you to do the deduplication and cloud-based replication services we just highlighted today. So what in most cases you need to do is you do need to deploy, you do need to license a new license from eFolder because it has this complete feature set that allows you to do this complete disaster recovery solution. Let's see here. Let me keep going through. So Chris wants to know, what is the main difference between the Acronis offering as a product and other offerings you have, such as the StorageCraft Shadow Protect offering? Let's see. So a couple different things. First of all, one thing that we've really innovated here on this particular offering is we have made it a very simple pricing and packaging offering. So $60 per server with a terabyte of included storage. That's something that's quite different. The Acronis software, like the Dell Aperture software, includes this deduplication capability, so that is something that is pretty unique and advanced. The way Exchange Granular Recovery is included.